Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Season 1, Episode 2 of Barry. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So first and foremost, obviously, Gene comes in and tells the class the sad news about Ryan. And I love everyone's doing their expressions like, oh my God, they're so heartbroken, people are crying. And then Barry's just kind of like, oh no, right. So I was curious about that. And it seems like this episode definitely leans into it that Barry, once again, it might be kind of like a bit of a dissociative situation he's got going on because of his time in the military. Because it doesn't seem like it's one of those sociopath things where it's like, maybe it eventually got there because he was so broken on the inside when he came back that, Funch, I keep doing it. One thing I always want to say, like Funches. Fuchs ended up rebuilding him into this killer, so he was definitely leans more sociopath now. So I was wondering whether or not he was a well-adjusted human or not. It seems like, obviously, I think being a hitman, you're not the most well-adjusted person anywhere, because I'm sure you bury a lot of that stuff. So he's probably forgotten what it's like to be human, and he's kind of brushed that off for so long now that being human again, like he has to kind of readjust himself to like, oh no, I can't believe Ryan's dead. And it's just like, oh my God, I can't believe Ryan got gunned. It's like, I know, Ryan getting gunned down like that. He wasn't the first and he won't be the last. And everyone in the class is like looking like, what? I love one of the dudes. It's like, oh my God, I'm next. I know I'm next. And then Gina's like, you most likely are. He's looking like, I didn't need you to tell me that. I love that whole bit. I also love that he's like, right, guys, take the time off. Everything's going to be fine. Also, there's no range checks. You're also going to pay for the full day, even though you're not going to be here. Even though I'm telling you, right, it's part of the lessons of getting out. Learning lessons outside of class, but he's still going to charge you for the full day of class, even though you're not there. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So other than that, Sally had suggested, like, let's get like a get together, kind of a memorial thing for him. And at the same time, Barry's got to deal with the aftermath of, well, the not killing Ryan thing, but then also shooting at Hank and his guys. Goran's people. To be fair, I think it's kind of messed up because they're the ones that shot at him first. They try to kill him first. So it's kind of messed up. And it's like, right, he would have gotten around to doing the job, but you just got to it faster. And you're just like, oh, let's kill him now. It's like, but it's like they chalked it up. Oh, he's buddy with Ryan, so we got to kill him too. It was legitimately self-defense. So I thought it was interesting. Fuchs is like, right, we got to get out of town and stuff. Well, it's more so Barry's suggestion because Fuchs actually wants to stay and fight. But it's like, no, they've got an army of people. There's probably even more people back in Chechnya. So it's like, we can't do this. It's like, right, no. I'm not going to go. You go, Fuchs, and I'm going to stay. And I'm going to handle this because this is my battle. It's like, all right, but when it's all said, you'll get on a plane to come. He's like, yes. I love the pause and everything. And just kind of like, yes. And I wonder in those moments, is that Barry thinking to himself, oh, I gotta act. Yes, and try and sound as super convincing as possible. So, because he does it later on too, because Fuchs is like, you're gonna get this done and you're gonna do it right, Barry, right? And he's like, yes. I love that. Just like, because also Bill Hader does what Bill Hader does. He does expressions so well. So when he does like those very like, it's just like, obviously when him and Sally were doing their like little exercises and he's making those like creepy faces and stuff like that. It's just like how expressive his face can get, especially when he's making like those like big expressions. So I love that. But I love that while he was on the phone with Sally, like, you had poor Fuchs in the room getting the ever-living shit beat out of him. And it's like, right, I was crying for you and him. He's like, no, I was on the phone. He's like, what the fuck? And Hank is like, cool. Like, oh, it's like water under the bridge. No, what was it he was saying? Like, okay, he's like, if you were in my shoes, what would you? I would do the same thing. He's like, I did do the same thing and you tried to kill me. He's like, it's like, and Hank is like, it's a he said, she said type of situation. But he's like, yeah, but you wouldn't have to come across, anything. You wouldn't have taken something off the dashboard of the car, would you? He's like, no, wait, you didn't bring that lipstick camera, did you? He was like, what? No, we didn't even talk about this. And, let's pretend this conversation never happened, just as like Goran walks into the room. It's like, yeah, as we know, the police have that camera, which is pretty stupid to literally leave behind a key piece of evidence that convicts you, because who knows how much stuff does he have recorded on that, aside from just Ryan's death and the whole thing with Barry, which obviously Barry's gonna have to worry about that. But I'm curious, what else did he have filmed up? There's probably some other like terrible stuff that he's like, oh, just to be able to capture and stuff. It's like, right. Which I even love later on, he's sending Barry a text like, okay, this is the guy you need to kill. Make sure you kill him. Also delete all these texts prior to this. No ho, Hank. Thank you. So we'll have to wait and see. But I love the police investigation side of things. I love the crime scene photos because it's just one of the cops. What's his name? I'm blanking on it now. He's crying in the background of a whole bunch of the crime scene photos because him and his significant other broke up. It's like, oh, it was under a year. And I think her name's Detective Moss. She ends up winning like a $300 bet or whatever. Which that actress, I've seen her in... I want to try to remember, like, she's one of those actresses that you're like, dude, I see you in stuff, I just can't place. I want to say, like, one of the things I know is from, her character's been dead for a long time, but I know she played, oh, God, Vance from NCIS. She played his wife. She died many seasons ago in NCIS. It was around the time Ziva's dad died in the same... Was it the same episode, or was it like an episode or two later? Regardless, tangents and all that aside, that's one of the most recent things I could think of. I'm sure she's done many, but she's one of those actresses, while you've seen her and stuff, it's just always like hard to nail what it was that you've seen her in. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I should also note, I love that detective who's crying. I swear, like, the last crime scene photo wasn't even a crime scene photo. It looked like they were specifically taking a picture of him sitting down with someone else crying. It was like, that seemed like that was specifically, now I gotta catch just on camera. The rest, he's like, you know, it's part of you taking pictures of the crime scene and he just happens to be in the background crying. I feel like that third photo, the final photo, was just mainly him just straight up in the back, just focused on him crying, but maybe there was other evidence that was in the photo. I just zeroed in on that and nothing else. I also love the tech guys. One of them is, I'm blanking on his name too, but most recently, God, the Umbrella Academy. One of the tech dudes is that, and I love that every time you turn around, the tech dudes are like doing the wrong thing because it's like, oh, we couldn't get stuff off the camera because we don't have an adapter. Well, go buy one. It's like, okay, wait, did you guys get the video? Oh, yeah, a password popped up. We were trying to find out a way to get... And no, the moment the password popped up, you just stopped. It's like, yeah. And so she starts putting it in. It's like, right. It's like 4 digits. Like, how many can it be? It's like, there's a lot of possible combinations. And she's like, all right, 0001. Okay, 0002. And then it's like, wait, oh, what just happened? It locked because you put in too many incorrect passwords. And did you know that was going to do that before I did it and you didn't say anything? He's like, we didn't want to get yelled at again. So now she's got to call in the FBI, which is definitely going to be interesting. Granted, it benefits him because the longer it takes, eventually Hank is going to find out, like, oh yeah, the police have that, and Barry's going to have to eventually get that because, oh, there's evidence of me on that. So that's definitely going to be interesting. Complicating things. I could definitely see this show having that. If you've ever seen the show In the Dark on the CW or even like Ozark, it's always that thing of, man, what's going to go wrong next? Like, of course, you've got everything planned out and you want to do this and that, but of course, like, things aren't going to work out the way you want them to. They never do. So I definitely see this show being that type of show, man. Everything that could go wrong possibly will go wrong. So I love... Because the person that Barry ended up killing ended up being one of their top assassins, which I love. Barry's like, oh, well, he wasn't that good. But now Barry has to kill the guy that guy was supposed to kill, and the replacement for that guy that got Barry killed doesn't come in. They don't know when he's going to drop in, so we need you to fill in. But Barry's like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Which Fuchs is like, what? No, they're about to file down my teeth. No, stop. Even to that point, it was kind of gross when he's just like spitting out his teeth. I was like, oh, because it looks like it was just like it looked like paste coming out of his mouth, like chunky paste. I was like, ugh. I was like, ugh. That's because I was wondering what that guy was gonna do with that. It's like, oh, why don't you get these guys to kill the guy? It's like, no, they're muscle, not assassins. Those are two different things. What about Hank? It's like, well, you messed up his arm. He's like, oh yeah, this is kind of useless. And what about that guy? It's like, oh yeah, but he's scary. Like he on the self-consciously scary. Yeah, and like and Hank being like, oh yeah, you see how he like it's the whole we get it. Like you're scary. I love that whole bit. So Barry reluctantly has to accept it. It's supposed to be a one and done. If anything happens, a hair on Fuchs' head, anything happens to him, I will come back here and I will kill every single one of you. I was like, oh, that's Barry, that's so badass. And just Hank being like, oh, he cares about Fuchs. That's nice. So, and instead of immediately getting to the job, it's like, okay, so I'm hang with the actors and stuff, and I love that. I've never seen the movie they're referencing, but it's apparently Philip Seymour Hoffman. Philip Seymour Hoffman. I could not say that. Jeez, and Meryl Streep. I've never seen that movie they're referencing. Doubt. So that's interesting. I just love Barry. Like, right, I don't know how to play a child molester. It's like, no. You don't have to. You don't have to know that to play it. But, because he was saying, like, right, I was thinking we were going to do something more funny. But it's like, no, this is a scene I worked on with Ryan. I even love Gene was like, yeah, probably don't do that. Probably don't want to do something child molester related at a memorial. And I'm like, that seems like probably a bit of a social faux pas. But it's like, no. I guess it's like, I think the joke probably is too, like, right, actors. It's like, there is, it's just, it's art, it's us doing art, it's beautiful, like, there are no social faux pas, it's part of the art, blah, 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 blah. It might be kind of, like, seen from that lens, but I thought it was interesting, all the different performances, Homdu doing, like, I don't know what the hell he was doing, I gave up smoke, so giving up smoking's easy, I did it 1,000 times, like, is that supposed to be like some weird Colonel Sanders type? I don't know what that is. Then there was a mime on stage, and Gene be like, "Oh, thank you, Antonio. That was something." But before it was time for Barry and Sally, Ryan's dad got on stage and talked about, like, right, I told my son he was crazy for wanting to be an actor, but seeing all you guys here performing like this, it's just, I'm so glad to know my son was part of a loving community. And I guess with the nature of what Barry's job is, he's never had to deal with the aftermath of one of his kills. He's never had to deal with the devastation. Because Fuchs does say, like, makes a point, like, oh, I've always protected you in the aftermath of stuff. I guess, like, right, people would probably try to track you down or come after you. That's why I'm like, does Fuchs not work for, like... Because I was wondering, last episode, I didn't really say anything, but I guess this answer says maybe this episode, whether Fuchs is, like, top management or whether he's middle management. I was thinking, like, right, he manages and kind of acts as a handler to Barry, but he works under someone else. But, it might just be... Fuchs might be, like, the boss. He might be because he does seem like the one who does the handshaking and sets up the jobs for Barry, or accepts the jobs on Barry's behalf. But I was wondering whether he was middle management. It seems like, no, he's top management. Maybe. We'll see if they, like, it seems like he's middle management. We'll see if that ends up kind of getting changed or revealed as the season progresses. But Barry's never been in the aftermath, so seeing a father break down about his son, it became too much for Barry. It just, like, right, this is the thing that I did. I even thought it was interesting that, because I think Sally was even telling him, like, when it comes to acting, it's like, right, you don't have to be a child molester just to play this role. Just think about something bad that you've done and kind of use that as fuel. And obviously Barry was like, right, that's a lot. And she's like, no, I get it. Like, take all that, fuel it, and put it into your performance. That, it's being, feeling all you're feeling. I love that she's like, it's called being human. And that's acting. I'm like, the layers to that is so interesting. Because it's like, right, all feeling the way you're feeling is supposed to be human. But it's almost like the art is supposed to take... Art imitating life is more important than life itself in that, like, it's almost like the commentary in that line from Sally kind of implies that. So I thought that was interesting. But I do like that, much like Ryan, Barry did kind of find his own community, because it's like, right, let's go back in. I even love later Sal's like, you can't really, like, I mean, how do you, like, do better than a father grieving his son? She's like, yeah, probably wouldn't have been the best place to do the whole child molester thing. But she's also like, right, Philip Seymour Hoffman has most of those lines. She says, like, yeah, Meryl Streep is more so like a straight man in that situation. So she wouldn't have really had an opportunity to really flex her acting. And I love that Barry walks into her. She's like, right, but Barry, we shouldn't do this. We shouldn't sleep together, whatever. And he was like, no, I wasn't thinking that. She's like, oh, cool. Do you want to go inside and talk about why we should? He's like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to walk you to your door. Good night. She's almost like, good night. And it's just kind of confused. Like, oh, I thought there would have been more of a fight. I think it is that complicated thing. You're like, no, we shouldn't sleep. It's like, oh, we shouldn't sleep together. Okay. Wait, you're not going to fight that? Resist it? Like, I thought maybe she was hoping for like a little playfulness of like, oh, but it's like, oh, okay. I don't, you never know how to interpret that. Like, oh, is something wrong with me? It's not like, does it seem like having, like, sleeping with me potentially isn't something even on your radar? You're not even thinking about it? Like, not even a little? I think you can kind of get swelled up in that thought process. But we see that home dude is, following Barry and takes a picture of Sally. So, willing to hurt anyone around him if he needs some added motivation to do what he needs to do. So, that's kind of a bad thing that Sally's in their sight, or at least they're aware of Sally's existence. At least this guy, because the hitman that he killed last episode that was with Hank, that was his brother. So he's extra motivated when it comes to being pissed at Barry. So lots of really, really interesting and fun things. I'm excited to see where episode 3 ends up taking us going forward with this. But really, that's all I'm going to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.